right. Thanks everyone for joining today's session. So actually, not so much updates to highlight, except the following. So we continue learning Angular and continuing doing project management system task. I know that some issues with backend side could happen. So in this case, I will try to take some time to investigate the possible issues. So as you might be noticed, we've updated the link with another version of the backend, which is the fixed one. We haven't reviewed it, so the PR is still pending. But you can freely use this version in your home task. Okay, accept the following task. Yeah, nothing specific to highlight. So continuing doing the following task and continuing with the rest of the Angular modules. The only thing I would like to highlight here to it's really important, yeah. So I want to ask you to go to your REST app and check the score for your home task, for your assignments. In case if your mentor forgot to check your home task and put the mark to the RS app, please contact Anna in this case, and we'll try to sort out everything. So maybe someone else could help us with that. But yeah, that's really important. So please check everything in the RS app and highlight in case if some works haven't been checked yet. Okay, another thing for you, because we are not planning mentor reassignment, since we don't aware of the available resources, would like to ask you to post every question regarding not only regarding home task, but also regarding the Angular to the chat. So that a free mentor who knows how to work with Angular will look to this chat, and in case if he could help you, so they will post the answer. And so also we'll try to monitor this chat and also try to answer your questions. So please try to ask any questions, not only related to organization, but also to the materials itself. So that's the intention of the communication. So maybe something is unclear for you from the Angular perspective. So that would be a great idea if you share the questions also regarding Angular, if something is not really clear for you. Okay, I believe that's it for the news. And maybe you have something else to highlight.
No, I have none.
Okay, let's jump into your questions, if any. I believe it should be. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. So we can use either backend in our home assignment project management app from those two options.
Yes, exactly. But as far as I remember, there was the found issues with the first one in the previous run. So that's why one of the previous students organized another backend version for this home assignment. So it depends on how it works for you. If you don't experience any problem, you can easily go ahead with the first one. In case if something is not working, yeah, so you can check out the second one. In case if you still experience problem with backend, so please highlight to me. I will try to find out.
The second question is actually the materials we had to cover in this week. There were two video lectures and projects like to-do list app, and in the Angular website materials there was a tour of heroes. And to be honest, the digesting of these new materials took the whole week for me personally, and I was thinking about, is it possible to have some kind of, can we have more time? Can we extend the deadline for this final project?
I believe, yeah, in case if most of you will experience problem with completing the task till the week 26, yeah, I think it could be extended. So for now, let's continue working on the assignments. Yeah, we'll take a look till the end.
So in case of emergency, there's some possible to have some additional time.
Yeah, sure, but let's now focus on the task completion and learning new materials.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, question from the chat. It's already answered. Give us information about how much Angular will be asked during the interview process. Yeah, for example, half of the questions, or maybe you have predefined interview questions. So actually, interviewers, from my experience, never have like the predefined list of questions. So it depends on each interviewer. So let's say first things first, if it's like try to cover the core JS questions. If it thinks that it's time for Angular questions, so you'll be jumped into the next topic. So we'll never know which exact questions you are expected on the interview. So our suggestion is just to be prepared and not to have much stress because we know that sometimes it could be stressful. But in my opinion, you should mostly focus on core JS. So because this is the essential part, and the majority of questions will be regarding core JS rather than Angular in details. So as this course is intended into preparing junior specialists, you are expected to have like the basic knowledge of framework, some hands-on experience, and some understanding of core concepts. So I believe I answered your question. Okay, Stay, I see the raised hand again, so you have another one?
Yeah, I forgot to ask in time. The maximum score for the final project is 620 points. Could you tell us what is the minimum requirement for minimum acceptable points and requirements from the task if you are not unable to complete the task in its full extent? What is the minimum requirements?
Well, actually, we haven't defined the minimum requirements for completing the task. So it will be fully evaluated according to evaluation criteria. So if we do not have such concept here, and let's say if you partially completed the task, all the implementing functionality will be evaluated. So let's say you have login functionality and let's say the board page with listing. So you are able to create only boards, right? So yeah, it will be evaluated in the same way. And we do not have like minimum criteria for task completion. So do as much as you can. In case if we will see that the deadline should be extended, yeah, we'll do that.
Thank you for your answers.
Okay, moving to the next one. Is there a detailed video instruction on how to work with MongoDB on the for the backend? Well, I'm not sure we have that one. We'll try to find it out. What you can do, what you can do now, you can easily get the project management application, which is provided in the demo section, and gets the backend URL from here. So it's already should be deployed. So why we're asking to have your own copy of the backend? So actually, it's mostly about verification. Let's say we have about 20 students, let's say, all they using the same backend. It will cause the mess during implementation because we'll have one single source of data. And during verification, it will also cause the problems. So that's why we're asking to have a dedicated backend for each of your application. However, if you are blocked with the backend, you're not sure how to handle it, you can easily do like the following. So let's sign in with my created account. Let's say, so I got signed in with my account. I see here, so there is the URL of the backend with the same endpoints. So for testing purposes, you can use one of the backends which is already deployed if it will work fine. And the meanwhile, if you do have any questions regarding the backend, how to handle it, how to deploy it, so please highlight each case in Discord, and please don't forget to tag my name in case if you require my attention. So I believe for now, I answered your question, but I am not fully prepared for answer it with the MongoDB aspects and so on. Okay, anything else?
Yes, I do have a question, if you don't mind. Regarding the structure of the project itself, can you hear me? Sorry, is that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So basically, what I would like to know is that I've seen your videos on YouTube, about the To-Do app, and there's lots of like folders like core, shared, and things like that, and it gets pretty confusing, like jumping from one folder to another. So my question is that, is it like necessary to structure the project exactly, or similar to the way that you described it? Is that a convention, or we can just structure the project in our own way?
Okay, my recommendation is to stick to the project structure that I proposed, because it's commonly used among the production projects. So well, the question was one of the parts of the question that you're confused with the project structure, you don't have full understanding. Okay, so maybe we can get something, let's say, to-do list management, right? So let's take this repository and have a look at which project structure we have, just real quick for your understanding. So at the root, we have everything that is relative to our entry point. This is app, module, and app component. Here is clear. So what are these folders? So these folders represent modules. You'll have a core module, which is used for setting up the services and having the shared services across your application. So core module is mostly used for services and for configuration of your application. So we see it consists of interceptors and components, which are used in the core layout. They actually use header, footer, and something which is used in core layout. But mostly core module is used for shared services. Let's say the interceptor is also a service which is used everywhere. So this is about core module, which is used mostly for shared services and configuration functionality. We also have shared module, which is used to store components, directives, and pipes that are used in every module. So it's for shared widgets. It's also sometimes it's also called a widget module. So it is used for these pieces, these building blocks that are used for exporting, which is specified right here. And the rest folders that you might be noticed in the following root level, all these modules are represent either for creating a store, but my recommendation also to have this store folder inside the core one, and feature module. So actually, in the real world scenario, we'll have maybe, let's find another repository just for your reference. We'll try to do so. Angular live coding. So maybe here, just real quick. Not this one. Just in order not to confuse you. So we'll try to find Angular courses app, maybe this one. App, okay. So what do we have? Actions again. Well, all right. So we'll not take too much time into finding the repository with correct structure, but yeah, my recommendation is to stick to the structure that is represented to the to-do list management. Except one thing, I would like to move store folder. Here we have like so you haven't been covered on GRX for now, but this folder should be stored at the core one. So we'll have core, shared, and the list of feature modules. Let's say we have login page, so we'll have the following feature modules: auth module, board module. All these modules will be represent each functional area. So this is like the general approach, and the majority of Angular developers stick to the following approach. So yes, to summarize, my answer is yes, that's recommended to stick to the following project structure.
Okay. And is there like any website where, or instructions about this this rule? Because it's really confusing just to like see the folders. Is okay, I see that. So we can read about.
Just trying to remember, maybe in the Angular documentation itself, there is like the description of the structure. No, it's like a description of which files we have, assets, environments. Okay, so yeah, that's a really good point. We'll like update the materials for the future code runs. And the meanwhile, yeah, we'll try additionally to the article, let's say, that's represents the project structure idea that's we'll try to stick with.
It's just because I mean, obviously I don't have experience in all these things, but the project itself is not super complicated, and the Angular makes it like very complicated. Things get worse from 0 to 100 in like in a second. So yeah, I mean, if you say that that's the way that it's got to be, then yeah, okay. And one last question is that if I understand that right, is so basically we have to make our own like fake database in MongoDB, deploy the whole project on let's say Heroku, and then make like a Docker container. Is that the correct the sequence?
I will look at the documentation here. So Docker Compose, yeah, Docker Compose actually should do the Heroku deployments in case if you're using it.
Mm-hmm. And instead of Heroku, we can use I don't know, is there like anything else, or you would just recommend to use it? So that's the best way.
I would say yes. Yeah, I've already described that why is it necessary to have your own copy?
Yes.
But you can use one of the predefined, pre-deployed backends from the demo app for your development. And in case if the issue with backend still persists, yeah, we'll try to resolve this issue.
Mhm. There's another thing is that what would you recommend in terms of building steps of the whole project? So basically, do I have to define like a basic functionality for the project and then use the connected to a database and and deploy it? I mean, not deploy it, but basically work with the database at that point, or should I just build the whole project, let's say offline, and then connect it with the database? What's the
By
easiest
building,
way?
sorry to interrupt you, by building a project, you mean backend?
Yes, because I understand that with all the things get complicated really quickly as the project grows. So my question is that would that be which way is easiest? Just to build initial, let's say, functionality for the project and then connect it with the backend, or just build the whole thing and then connect it with the backend? Which way is like less complicated in terms of like, I don't know, management or whatever? If you know what I mean.
I would say it's preferable to stick to connecting to backend as early as possible.
As soon as possible.
Because yes, because if you will try to implement base functionality without backend and will try to connect it, so most likely you will start getting some errors, which will lead into having more time for fixing all the issues.
Yeah.
So that will be.
And if while we're talking about this, the backend, I'm not obviously, I'm not experienced in this thing, in these things. It's just I'd like to know like the model. I don't know, the data model, if you know what I mean. So we should have, let's say, like an object with user passwords, and then inside this object we would store all his all the users, let's say, lists, arrays, an object with the datas and all his lists and all his to do. So they should be separately, like a separate let's say file for users and separate file for his project, his hers, whatever. How would you recommend
just to rephrase the question, so you're asking how to get all the modules of the data models that is used on backend for user, for boards, etc., right?
Yes. How should I store them? Like all in one basically cluster, or they should be separately, and I will connect them to you, like the to-do lists to each individual user. If that makes sense, what I'm saying.
Yes, meanwhile, the same idea of the task is to focus on front end rather than back end. So how it's stored, how it's handled, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But in any case, yeah, just in case if you're lost and you have no idea of which models are used in the backend, so you need to open Swagger. So actually, I tried to open it from some of the deployed backends, but I see that I have errors. So maybe we'll try to find another one just to show demonstrate for anyone. Yeah, maybe they don't really know.
I mean, if you could maybe like a bit later just to post a link on something like that, in the Discord. So if I don't want you to waste time on that, but that would be really helpful.
You can you can run backend locally by using Docker. That's not complicated, and I believe there is no any issues with that. And locally navigate to the local URL to the /docs. So that you'll open Swagger UI. But what I'm trying to is trying to show so how it will look like. Let's say docs. Oh yeah, here we go. So here's how it will look like. So that here is the full listing of endpoints that is used in the backend. So if you're looking for the modules that are returned from the backend, there's also here. So let's say you want to get the list of words. So there is the GET request, right? So we'll see from the description that it returns array with objects, object with the following structure: ID, title, and description. So that could be a good start for creating models in Angular application.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I mean, by searching Swagger documentation, it could be a good start for creating models in your Angular application.
Yeah,
I mean, interfaces and so
on. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe I answered the question correctly. So just in case, if you wouldn't like to deploy backend locally for now, but you want to look through the Swagger documentation, so maybe let's leave the link somewhere. Let's say interaction, task, questions. Well, not sure where I should post it. Maybe in the announcements, yeah, for you. Swagger documentation. Okay, I believe that would be easy to find. Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, anything else to discuss?
Excuse me, in Swagger UI, there is the option of authorization.
Sorry?
Could you show us Swagger UI? There is the option of authorization on the top.
Yes.
Yes, authorize. Should we handle this authorize option?
What do you mean by handling it?
It requires tokens, and when you click on it, and
some of the requests require tokens, and it's marked with the lock icon. Some of the requests are not don't require token, and it does has nothing. So if you would like to
the authorize itself, the authorize button requires some additional.
Yeah, it requires token. So how to obtain it? So in case if you have your user account, you can use sign in endpoint. In case if not, let's say for this service, I believe, yeah. So let's say we are trying to sign up. Course errors. Okay. So it's because of some course issues. But in a real world scenario, when you test it locally, it will return a token like this. Right? This is the token response. If you want to use authorizer and have ability to test other endpoints, you do sign in on sign up. You get the token response. Now you copy, click authorize, put the token right here, click authorize once again, and this token will be used for any of the requests. But now the token is invalid, so it will cause like in problems. But the idea is the same. So have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, I believe we're done. So I believe that today's session will be useful for most all of you. So in case if nothing else to discuss, thank you. Just to highlight once again, so please leave your questions in the chat and not forget to ping me or Anna in case of any issues or problems. I think we're done for today. Thank you for joining, and have a good day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a great week.
Thank you too. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.